Now you might think that this Yamaha Passola build is starting to come to an end. Nah, in many ways it is only just beginning. In the last episode, we got it running for the very first time. The 3KJ swapped stage 6 50cc street race engine roared to life. The indicators, the lights, the dashboard, the ignition, everything worked just the way it should. And boy, did it sound good. The good news is, given that it started and everything worked, that means I did something good. But my wiring still needs to be tidied up because it's still looking a little bit messy. And after that, I've got bodywork and paint. I need to fix this. I need to finish that. I need to fix the rust that's under here. I also need to make sure that bodywork, the body lines, the alignment is as straight as it possibly can be. And once that's all done, then I've got to start thinking about what this bike looks like once it's all finished. Which brings us now to styling and my vision for this build. It was always a Gentsuki style bike, but instead of form over function, I'm aiming for function over form. And what does that mean? Well, the bike must have working suspension and it can't be so low that every ride out it absolutely destroys itself. Now usually Gentsuki style scooters are painted in bright colors, polka dots, lockout colors, but in my opinion, the very best ones are the ones that are painted with a brand livery on them. Now, I really want this bike to stand out and I want some ideas from you guys. If this was your bike, how would you paint it up? What color schemes, what designs, what livery would you use to make this bike absolutely pop? Leave a comment down below. You never know, I might just use your ideas because I'm at a point of time where I need to finalize the design of this in my head before I can move on much further than this. Before any of that can be done, but we've got to get cracking with the bodywork. So let's start with the front mudguard here. It's got a nice chunky crack all the way through it. We've got to pull it off. We've got to plastic weld it up. We've got to make it all good. Alright, so I'm going to take you through the process of repairing the front guard for this scooter. To stop the crack from spreading any further now or at a later date, I start by drilling a hole right at the end of the crack. From here we use the gun to apply the hot staples that will hold the two sides together and prevent it from cracking again. From here I'm using the soldering iron to weld and melt the two sides together. Once the back side's done, it's time to turn it over and do the same thing to the front side. Now this is a weird type of plastic. It's really rigid and it's not very flexible, and given that, I didn't have the correct filler rod. So in this case, I elected to sand the back side and give it some structure with one sheet of fiberglass. Alright, at the front of the guard there was a little piece missing, so to recreate that I chopped up a bit of plastic from another dead scooter that I had and I started to melt it into place. From here, it's apply a light skim of body filler, then sand it down through the grits of paper, 80, 120 and 180, and this part is ready to go. Okie dokie, the front mudguard is totally repaired. All it needs from here is a coat of high build primer, a sandback, then it is ready for paint. So I'm going to park this one for now and give the same treatment to the front headset. I'm really happy with the way that headset's looking. It's really going to pop. Having said that, if you guys are liking the build, liking the channel, maybe consider subscribing. It'll go a long way to helping the channel grow. So from here, what I'm doing is I'm going to start lining up the body panels. They've never been fitted all that well. There's a bit of a bulge around this area where the shock absorber comes, which I've just started to eliminate. I'm going to test the panels on, just make sure everything clears the way it should. These measurements here should all be the same, and hopefully we're in the ballpark of where this bike needs to be. Let me show you guys what I've just been working on. It's all about body lines, symmetry, and to me, this stuff is really important because it's that final 2% that makes all the difference in a build. So if we look here, this line and this line, it needs to run parallel all the way down. Now before it was wider or narrower down here, and the gap was too far apart. So I've got it to a point where it's about 15 millimeter now. Now, not only did it have to be 15 millimeters here, it has to be 15 millimeters on the other side. Down here, this has to match this body line in the floor pan and vice versa. And then up on the tail light too. It's a little bit wonky back here, but not much I can do there. And same with the spoiler, it all just has to work. Now, like I said, this stuff is really important to me. I come from a profession where I repaired cars for a living, and that is always super important. It's what makes a build a build. It takes a long time. Now I'm going to take you around the other side of the bike. All right, so if we look at this side of the bike, around here where the shock absorber sits underneath, I had a bulging panel. Now I fixed that up. It's not too bad now at all. And we've got the same parallel lines. Everything is lining up the way it should. Again, the tail light is probably always going to be just a little bit wonky. All right, so all that said and done, the reason it was important is if I pull this bike apart, I need to put it back together and get those body lines straight like that again. It's really important. Remember guys, I want you guys to leave a comment down below and tell me what you want me to do with the paint or an idea to get this Gentsuki build to pop. All right, so these parts are now done. They're looking absolutely sensational. Ready for the high build primer, a little bit of sand after that, and then ready for paint. But the bike, however, we've now got the body line straight. We've done everything except for the little bit of rust under here. I'll do that off camera. You guys know what that's all about. We're this much closer to getting this build finished, the paint done, and maybe riding it. Guys, if you've enjoyed this episode, if you're following along with the Passola build, make sure you subscribe, make sure you give me a like, and if you could even comment on the videos, it would be absolutely sensational. Last week was a big week. I hope I can build from there. Anyway, I'm going to see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching Scooter Bomb. Cheers.